Diabetes is not a death sentence, it's a test of your knowledge. Don't worry, just 15 minutes, and we'll uncover all the misconceptions. Number 1, you need special foods if you have diabetes. Have you ever thought that having diabetes would turn your kitchen into a specialty food store? Forget that idea right now. The truth is, you don't need to spend a fortune on foods labeled diabetes-friendly. What you really need is to understand your body and adjust your diet accordingly. A study from the American Diabetes Association revealed that no food is strictly off-limits for people with diabetes, as long as you manage portions and maintain balanced nutrition. This means you can still enjoy your favorite foods, just with a bit more mindfulness. For instance, eat a small slice of cake instead of the whole thing. Simple, right? Take the story of Martha, a 65-year-old woman, as a perfect example. When she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, she used to spend over $200 a month on sugar-free snacks. But after a few months, she realized they didn't help much and even caused her to gain weight because she ate too many of them. Now, I know what you're thinking, what about those diabetes-friendly products being advertised everywhere? Sure, they sound appealing, but not all of them are truly beneficial. Many sugar-free products contain artificial sweeteners or hidden carbs that can cause more trouble than they're worth. So, what's the solution? Focus on natural, wholesome foods like vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Don't forget fruits, but go for ones with a low glycemic index, like berries or apples. Your body will thank you for these smart choices. The most important thing is that you don't have to turn every meal into a science project. Keep things simple yet nutritious because, in the end, your health isn't about chasing food trends, it's about maintaining balance. Trust me, your kitchen doesn't need to look like a laboratory. Number 2, people with diabetes can't eat sugar. One of the biggest misconceptions many people believe is, if you have diabetes, you must completely cut out sugar. This might sound reasonable, but the truth is much more nuanced. In reality, people with diabetes don't need to completely avoid sugar. What's more important is managing the total amount of carbohydrates in their diet. Many people try to eliminate sugar entirely, which often leads to low energy levels and increased cravings, especially for sweets. The result? They find themselves stuck in a cycle of strict dieting followed by uncontrollable sugar binges. A study from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, shows that managing portion sizes and pairing this with regular exercise is the key to controlling blood sugar levels, not completely cutting out sugar. To put it into perspective, think about a chocolate bar. If you eat the entire bar at once, your blood sugar is bound to spike. But if you have just a few small pieces and pair it with a balanced meal rich in fiber and protein, your body can process the sugar much more steadily. This lesson is common among people with diabetes. Many initially misunderstand, but after getting guidance from a nutritionist, they learn how to balance their meals and still enjoy a little sweetness in life. The important thing isn't whether or not you eat sugar, it's how you eat it and what you pair it with. So, remember, a little sugar isn't the enemy. The real enemies are misinformation and a lack of control. Number 3, only obese people get type 2 diabetes. Obesity is a risk factor for diabetes, but plenty of people with a normal weight still develop this condition. According to the CDC, about 15% of people with type 2 diabetes have a normal or even below average weight. Why? Genetics, a sedentary lifestyle, high sugar diets, and prolonged stress all play significant roles. Research also shows that individuals with larger waistlines or abdominal fat, even if their overall weight isn't high, are at greater risk of developing diabetes. This has surprised many people. There are countless stories in the diabetes community about athletes or people who eat relatively healthy diets yet still receive a diabetes diagnosis. Many feel confused, even doubting their test results, because they associate diabetes solely with obesity. Only after learning that factors like insulin resistance and family history are major contributors do they start to understand. So, what's the lesson here? Type 2 diabetes doesn't discriminate based on body shape. Regardless of your weight, regularly monitoring your health, exercising consistently, and maintaining a balanced diet are essential to preventing the disease. Remember, diabetes doesn't just knock on the doors of those who are obese. It can show up anytime if you don't pay proper attention to your body. Number 4, there are only two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. The twin rumor, that's how I like to call the widespread myth that there are only two types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. But the truth is, the diabetes world is much more complex, with lesser-known family members like gestational diabetes, LADA, latent autoimmune diabetes in adults, and MODY, maturity-onset diabetes of the young. Did you know that LADA, a type of autoimmune diabetes, is often mistaken for type 2 diabetes? Around 10% of people diagnosed with type 2 actually have LADA. This can lead to inappropriate treatment, as the underlying mechanisms are entirely different. Or take MODY, a rare form of diabetes caused by genetic mutations. It usually occurs in younger people and requires specialized testing for accurate diagnosis. Then there's gestational diabetes, which typically resolves after childbirth but significantly increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes later in life. In the medical community, there are countless stories of patients spending years on ineffective treatments before receiving the correct diagnosis. One doctor once shared a case where a patient came to him with uncontrollable blood sugar levels, only to discover that they had LADA, not type 2 as originally diagnosed. This highlights an essential point: not everyone with diabetes fits into a simple box. Identifying the correct type of diabetes not only ensures more effective treatment but also helps avoid unnecessary risks. Diabetes isn't just about type 1 and type 2. It's a diverse world where deeper understanding can truly save lives. Number 5, sugar-free foods are typically diabetes-friendly. The sweet sugar-free trap sounds appealing, doesn't it? That's exactly how products labeled sugar-free often mislead people. Who wouldn't love the idea of indulging without worrying about blood sugar spikes? But the truth isn't always so sweet. Many sugar-free products contain artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, or sorbitol, designed to replace sugar. But did you know that some of these sweeteners can negatively impact your gut microbiome, increase insulin resistance, and disrupt blood sugar regulation? A 2022 study by Harvard University found that consuming high amounts of artificial sweeteners can trigger bodily responses similar to those caused by real sugar. Additionally, sugar-free products often aren't truly sugar-free. Many contain hidden carbs or processed starches that can quickly convert to glucose in the bloodstream. One person with diabetes shared that they drank sugar-free soda daily and were surprised when their blood sugar didn't decrease. In fact, it slightly increased. Why? These artificial sweeteners didn't help them manage the total carbs they consumed from other meals. So, what's the lesson here? Don't be fooled by the sugar-free label. Read product labels carefully, calculate the total carb content, and focus on natural foods for the best blood sugar control. Sugar-free might sound like the perfect solution, but sometimes, it's just a sweet trap you don't want to fall into. Number 6, people with diabetes shouldn't eat fruit. The forbidden fruit curse, that's how many people view fruit when it comes to diabetes. But this is a harmful misconception. Many fear that the natural sugars in fruit will spike their blood sugar, but the truth is quite the opposite. Not only is fruit safe, but it's also essential for people with diabetes. The reason lies in the fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants fruits provide. A study from the University of Cambridge found that eating 2 servings of fruit daily can reduce the risk of diabetes complications by up to 13%. Particularly, low glycemic index, GI, fruits like berries, apples, and pears help maintain stable blood sugar levels. So, why does this myth persist? It stems from confusion between natural sugars in fruit and refined sugars in sweets. The sugar in fruit is encased in fiber, which slows absorption and prevents sudden blood sugar spikes. One diabetes patient shared their experience of cutting out fruit completely and feeling fatigued and low on energy. When they reintroduced fruit into their diet in a balanced way, they felt healthier and even managed their blood sugar better. Of course, not all fruits are the same. Hydrating, fiber-rich options like oranges, strawberries, or kiwis are excellent choices. On the other hand, it's wise to limit high-sugar, low-fiber fruits like raisins or overripe bananas. So, are you ready to break the forbidden fruit curse? Fruits aren't the enemy, they're valuable allies when you make the right choices. Number 7, you can't drink alcohol if you have diabetes. To drink or not to drink? This is one of the most debated questions in the diabetes community. Many believe that once diagnosed, alcohol is something you must completely eliminate. But the truth is far from that. People with diabetes can still enjoy a drink, as long as it's consumed in moderation. According to the American Diabetes Association, people with diabetes can safely consume alcohol in moderation. Specifically, the recommendation is up to 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks per day for men. More importantly, alcohol should be consumed with food to avoid drastic blood sugar fluctuations, especially hypoglycemia after drinking. This myth likely stems from a misunderstanding that different types of alcohol affect the body in very different ways. For instance, red wine is known for its cardiovascular benefits when consumed moderately, while sugary cocktails or high GI beers are less blood sugar friendly. One doctor humorously shared that if you think alcohol is harmful because of diabetes, try having a small glass with a meal instead of downing a bottle alongside dessert. Remember, it's not the alcohol itself that's the issue, it's how you drink it. If you're considering a glass of red wine on a romantic evening or raising a toast during the holidays, make sure to pair it with a balanced meal and monitor your blood sugar afterward. So, the answer is, you don't have to give up this small pleasure entirely. But remember, 1 drink can lift your spirits, just don't let it crash your blood sugar. Number 8, only older adults get diabetes. An ageless disease. You may have heard that diabetes only affects older adults, but the reality is far different. Diabetes, especially type 2, is becoming increasingly common among younger people, including children. This completely shatters the myth that it's merely a disease of the elderly. According to the CDC, the rate of type 2 diabetes among teenagers has increased by an average of 5% per year over the past decade. Why? The rise of sedentary lifestyles, sugar-laden diets, and processed foods. One report even highlights that about 1 in 4 children in the US is overweight or obese, one of the top risk factors for developing type 2 diabetes. A common scenario is young people ignoring early warning signs like fatigue, excessive thirst, or frequent urination, simply because they believe they're too young to get diabetes. By the time they're diagnosed, the disease has often progressed and caused complications. Sadly, many parents also fail to realize that diabetes doesn't only knock on the doors of those over 50. The good news? Diabetes in younger individuals can be managed effectively if caught early and addressed with lifestyle changes. Young people who adopt healthy eating habits, exercise regularly, and undergo routine health checks often manage their condition well and avoid long-term complications. The lesson here? Diabetes doesn't discriminate by age, and taking care of your health should start now, regardless of how old you are. Remember, your body doesn't care about your age, it cares about how you treat it. Number 9, treatment for diabetes remains relatively the same from patient to patient. One size fits all. If you think diabetes treatment follows a universal formula for everyone, get ready to be surprised. The truth is, each patient requires a personalized treatment plan because diabetes affects everyone differently. A study from the Mayo Clinic revealed that tailoring treatment plans can improve blood sugar management by up to 30%. For example, a young, active individual will need a different regimen than an older adult with comorbidities such as hypertension or kidney disease. Similarly, a patient with healthy eating habits and a regular exercise routine may require less medication than someone with a sedentary lifestyle. Many patients share a common story. They feel frustrated when their treatment isn't working, only to discover that their plan was one size fits all and didn't cater to their unique needs. Some require adjustments in medication, insulin delivery methods, or diet before they see significant improvements. So, what's the key takeaway? You are more than just a number on a glucose meter, and your treatment shouldn't be defined by a cookie-cutter approach. Working closely with your doctor, monitoring your condition regularly, and listening to your body can help you discover the best plan for you. Diabetes isn't a battle you have to face alone. Remember, your journey is unique, and you have the power to manage it in a way that works best for you.